Welcome back, you guys. Today I have a special guest all the way from Oregon. And it looks like Oregon outside currently somewhere in LA. Welcome, Miss Elikiquite, the amazing ghostwriter and the owner and business owner, WriteForYou. Thank you so much for your time today. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me, Mark Anthony. I'm very excited to be here with you this morning. So my name is Elikiquite, and I am a ghostwriter, and I help speakers and service-based business owners and executives tell their story in a book, basically. And I also help with other content marketing specialties, like if they need help with marketing their book, or if they need help with other content such as email newsletters, drip campaigns, blogs, newsletters. But really, the core fundamental of what I do, and the thing I love the most, is ghostwriting.
Perfect. And it sounds like, before we dive into this, you're almost like a one-stop shop, right?
Yes, for content marketing, for sure.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it so you guys keep up. We don't have much time, but we have valuable time here. Thank you. So what are the benefits to hiring a ghostwriter?
So one of the benefits to hiring a ghostwriter is my clients, almost all of them, come to me because they're stuck on their book. Like, they don't know where to go. They have an idea, or they have a book partly or mostly written, and they're not sure what their next step is or how they should change their book. So the benefits of hiring a ghostwriter, the biggest benefit is to have another person who has a lot of experience in writing help you with ideas, content, organization, editing, all that good stuff that they do day in and day out that most people don't do. And so you have that experience and basically book coach behind you to help you finish your book. Gotcha.
And just so you guys know, we do have an amazing quick speaker here that thinks on her feet very quick, so go ahead and keep up. What are some tips that you would recommend for somebody who's looking to hire a ghostwriter?
So I would say definitely talk to at least 3 or 4 people. And the one biggest thing you want to know when hiring a ghostwriter is that person needs to click with your personality, because they're basically going to be your best friend for the next few months. And if there's anything in your gut or your intuition that gives you a red flag, a pink flag, a yellow flag, definitely that's not the person to hire. Another thing is you can ask them, like, if they've ghostwritten for other people, or what other experience they have writing, or have they written their own book. And I would say I would kind of be hesitant to hire a ghostwriter who hasn't written their own book, because they don't have that experience behind them. Even if they haven't written a book for somebody else, I would prefer to hire a ghostwriter who has written their own book and self-published their own book, so they have that experience of all these steps going through.
Wow, you just answered a question before I was going to ask a question, so thank you so much.
You're welcome.
What do you want to have ready, aside to what you just stated, before starting with a client? Like length of the book, images, ideas, before I even approach to hire you?
Yeah, so if you are looking for a ghostwriter, I would say you need to have an idea of what you want to write about, for sure. And then a basic outline would be super helpful. And then if you know, like, how long do you want your book? So a typical book is 40,000 words or 200 pages. So if you want your book to be a typical book length, that would be it. If you want to have a series of short books, that's about 100 pages, and you can have 3 to 4 books. But just to kind of have a general idea of what you want, because a lot of people come up and ask me about pricing, but they have no idea what they want, and I can't give them a price if I don't know generally what they want, what kind of outline. And also, like, if your book is going to be nonfiction or fiction, you should definitely know that ahead of time, what genres your book is going to fall in. And you definitely want to be passionate about writing your book, because if you're not passionate about writing your book, you're never going to finish it.
Absolutely. I can totally agree with that. On average, let's just go ahead and, for lack of specification, on your ideal client, and given, because obviously your client has to contribute and has to do their part, what does this process look like for your ideal client, and total completion? How many edits do they get as well?
Yeah, so if a client just hires me to write the rough draft, which is the first run through of your book, basically, we sit down and talk for a 90-minute consult, and then we make up an outline for them. I help them make up an outline, and that can either be a traditional outline where you have like a topic and you write it linearly, or even better is doing a mind map, which is like it's basically like a more pictorial representation, because I'm more of a visual person, and so to put your main topic in the middle, and then have all these kind of like little spoke wheel branches off, and then those are your chapters, and then the spoke wheel branches off of those are you're supporting information. So I go through that with them, and then once we have their main outline done, and it can change at any time in the book, it's not set in stone, but we need to have something to go by to start off with. We start on writing their chapters, and it does not have to be in order, but then once we start writing their chapters, we then can go back and then do some more editing on different chapters, and then depending on what package or what they're paying me for, I will also do the book editing part, but just mainly going through and then writing all the chapters over a period of time, depending on how much content they already have, either from a podcast, a video, or if they have a blog, or if they have no content, we can start from there as well. But just getting through and then just continuing to meet on a weekly basis, or them giving me their information, and then I rewrite it into their book format.
You clarified something for me. Meeting on a weekly basis, so you're working on a rough draft, or now you're working on the actual book. How many times per month are they meeting with you, online or in person?
So it depends on the client, but ideally, if you want to get your book done as quickly as possible, to meet once a week for an hour, and then we go over what they've written, what I've written, and then they get their homework, I get my homework, we continue to work on their book, and then we meet the next week.
Okay, and with that said, just because now I'm a little bit a little lost, just because I'm new to this ghostwriting profession, you're gonna excuse me for this, how much do you need to have started in your book? I think you already clarified, but just for the people, because I'm a little confused at this point, how much do you need to have started for your rough draft to even begin with you?
So you just have to have an idea. You have to have an idea, and you have to know where you want to go with it. That's really the only two requirements to hiring me. You don't have to have any of it written, but I do have quite a few clients who were like, I'm going to write this book, and they started writing it, and they dropped off for whatever reason, and they want to pick it up and continue writing it and finish it and publish it. So yeah, you just need an idea, and you need to know a basic outline in your head of where you want to go with it. Gotcha.
And Miss Elikiquite, can you please tell me about the connections that now you've attained over the years, or what you know sets you apart as a ghostwriter, specifically in this industry, because there's a lot of lack thereof.
Yes. So for me, I consider myself a power networker, which is how you and I met, Mark Anthony, at one of the podcast festivals. And I'm a very intentional networker. So I don't just go out and hand my business cards to everybody. So because I am an intentional networker, and I have very high values and very high quality, I always look for high quality people that have good intentions, who are authentic and transparent. I have a really great power network behind me of people who do branding and playwriting and all the other things that I don't do. And so if you need a service, there's a complimentary service to mine, there is a 99% chance I can refer you to someone who I have worked with, who is very high quality, who has good character, and can get the job done really well.
Gotcha. So you have very strong joint venture partnerships, correct?
Yes, I have very strict joint venture partnerships and collaborations with a lot of other creatives in the field, but creatives that are good at what they do and creatives who are experienced, not somebody who just took a weekend course and opened up shop.
And as I can imagine now, that with all this information that you're dispensing to me currently, how do you keep your work-life balance and your personal life balance in the mix of creating everybody else's vision?
So one of the things that I do is I like to travel a lot. And so because I like to travel a lot, my job gives me that flexibility because I work from home. But not only that, it's I also have a lot of, when you have your own business, it's not easy, but you have a lot of flexibility with your time, which is, I think, the biggest bonus to having your own business. And so because I have a lot of flexibility with my time, I can take a Wednesday afternoon off if I want to go out and do something with my daughter. Or I can, work until 7 that night and then maybe take a couple hours off the next day. And so just doing that and knowing when I'm getting to the point where I need to take a break, and I take that break and I give myself that time, that is really important to keeping everything balanced. And so that's one of the things I really do to help keep everything in balance. It doesn't always stay in balance, and nothing's ever perfect, and I don't strive for perfection because perfection is not realistic. And so I strive to do my best every day, and sometimes that works out and sometimes it doesn't. Let's be real, right? We all have those days where we're just nope, it's not going to happen today. And so sometimes it needs to happen another day, and to give myself the grace to do that, and to do okay, and just accepting I can't do that today, I'm going to have to do it tomorrow. So that also helps with like keeping that mental health, emotional health, family life, work life, lifestyle balance is just understanding my limits and being accepting of them.
And now I'm actually really curious, and I think I might know the answer, but why did you choose to power network with me?
Oh, gosh, there's several reasons why I chose to power network with you. One is because you were one of the best dressed people at the podcast festival. And that's so rare for men like anymore. And so that told me that you were a professional and you really valued who you are. And I really respect that in another person. And so that was one. Another is when I started talking to you, I could tell that you were a very empathetic person and that you care about other people. And that's very high on my list of people who I like to have in my circle, is people who truly care about other people's welfare and really like to make like authentic connections with other people. And so that was mainly the reasons. It literally wasn't anything business oriented at all.
What did I do that was empathetic though? I'm not sure what I did.
Just like the way you speak to people, I can tell from just, life experience, like the way you speak to people, how you look at people when you talk to them. I can tell that you're truly listening to them and you're not just talking just to hear yourself talk, which some people do.
Most people do. Thank you so much for that. I love your responses so far. She's killing it. We're almost there, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to Miss Elikiquite. She's got a lot more coming. So with that said, we're going to dive into more of your profession, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right,
fire away.
So what is the most important element any client should look for when hiring a ghostwriter? Because there's a lot out there that may not actually be able to deliver.
Yeah, so definitely someone who clicks with your personality, like I said earlier, like that you have to just absolutely love the person. And then the other thing is if they've written a book, like I said before. So those two things, if they've already written and published a book on their own, not with a publisher, and then also if they, if you guys click with your personality, your energy, like you love being with them.
Gotcha. And just give me a second because this is going to my Instagram reel. I have Miss Elikiquite on. We're almost live. I have Miss Elikiquite on. We're almost live, almost not. But I have another amazing question for you. So, do ghostwriters typically offer book coaching and book editing? And are you able to do that?
Yeah, so it depends on the ghostwriter. But what I found, and I was actually really surprised at this, is that not a lot of ghostwriters. There's, first of all, not a lot of people who do ghostwriting, because most writers don't enjoy ghostwriting. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite thing to do by far. And so I really love doing the process of ghostwriting. I really love the process of creating. But most people also don't offer book coaching. And I offer book coaching because a lot of my clients have never written a book before. And so they're just not sure of the process. They're not sure what is okay, what's not okay. And a lot of people have ideas in their head that they think it's supposed to be a specific way, and it really doesn't have to be that way. And so that's what I really help them navigate through all of the mud, so to speak, of writing a book, and help them clear the pathway so that they can get their book done faster and be more confident about their book when they're finished with it. And so a lot of ghostwriters also don't do editing as an addition, and I also do editing while I'm writing their book. So they won't, if they want to get a second editor to like look over what I've edited, they can do that, but they don't have to.
Wow. So if you guys didn't catch that, she is on top of it. She's not messing around. Her rate is her rate because of the execution and delivery and the guarantees she's going to provide to you. And that's what I think is most attractive to this. So far from what I've been learning. Again, I'm a newcomer here. So please don't quote me on that. But take that in, you guys. Okay, let me back up. What type of contracts do ghostwriters typically have when finalizing the hiring process?
Yeah, so most ghostwriters have a contract of like 6 months or 12 months or 3 months or some kind of minimum. And I actually don't have a contract. I do have a client agreement, which says like I can't guarantee you're going to sell X number of books because that really highly depends on how my client markets their book, and I can't control that. But what I do is that in my agreement, I tell my client that I'm going to do X, Y, Z. Like when I do something, it's 110%. Like it's never halfway. And so I'm really easy to work with. One of the benefits when people hire me is one of my top 3 skills is I'm an ideator. So I literally never have writer's block, or rarely have writer's block. You actually saw me at one of my extreme rare moments where I had writer's block this morning. But I typically don't have writer's block. I have more ideas than anybody can use in their book.
Right.
And I can process really fast. So I typically write 1,500 words per hour.
Are you an artificial intelligence?
No, I'm much better than artificial intelligence. I'm the real deal.
Real deal. So go ahead and keep up, you guys. 1 second. So how do you, so you're providing, that's what I love. You just told me you're doing a client agreement because you're providing guarantees specifically to what you're currently displaying. And that as well is, again, anyways, so let's say, for example, I want to hire you. Mm-hmm. How does your credit get displayed, and what does that process look like?
Yeah, so each ghostwriter is different. So if you want to hire me and you say, like, I just want my name on the book, I don't want your name on the book, that's fine. Because my price is the same, whether you want my name on the book or not. Unless it's like, if you just hire me specifically for editing, that is one thing I do request my clients put me on their book as like edited by with my name. But as far as just like typically ghostwriting, you can just hire me for ghostwriter and then you can have my name on there. Some ghostwriters like to be acknowledged in some part of the book, and it all really depends on the ghostwriter. So you definitely need to talk about those details with whoever you hire.
Gotcha. Perfect. What inspired you to become a ghostwriter? Because when you don't know much about ghostwriting, at least from what I can see, it can be a very scary profession to enter.
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges with ghostwriting, and going back to the why I do no contracts thing, I don't think I explained that. The reason why I don't do a contract, I have just like a month-by-month contract, and that's it. So the reason why I don't do long-term contracts is because at some point in the process, if you decide for whatever reason you don't like me, and that rarely happens.
Rarely,
yeah.
Never, probably never.
I would not say never. It rarely happens. Mm-hmm. But if at some point you don't I don't want to keep our relationship going on rocky road. Like, that just doesn't benefit anybody. So I would rather just, tie the knot, so like, okay, or untie the knot, and then just go our separate ways. And then you've paid me for the services I've rendered so far, and then you can hire another ghostwriter. But I'm sorry, can you repeat your question one more time, Mark Anthony? The last one you asked me, I just completely fell on my head.
No, it's okay. I really love that you gave me that clarification, because if I needed that clarification, that even though I didn't really know, because you're just amazing at explaining your information, my question was, how did you decide to go ahead and go into this business with all the difficulties and challenges that are in front of you?
Yeah, so I love writing. And so before I was a writer, I was actually a full-time middle school science teacher, and I taught science, coding, and technology to students. And so when I got really burned out from that, I was listening to podcasts, and a lot of the ones with quote unquote successful people on it, they would say like, oh, I got into this profession because I thought, like, what would I do if money wasn't an issue? And I'm like, oh, I would write for a living because I love to write. And so I started out writing, and just like blogs, newsletters, stuff like that. And then as I got into it, and then I wrote and published my own book, I realized like that my talent and skill for writing really quickly and writing quality work is pretty rare, even among writers. Like, a lot of writers can't write that fast or write that much in that short period of time. I only know two out of all of my writers in my writers networks. I only know two other writers that can write that fast. And so I thought like I love working with people. I like being around people. I love connecting with people. And I'm like, I might as well do this for other people, because I don't consider myself helping somebody else. I consider myself a team with the other person. So I'm very invested in that person's success and finishing and publishing their book.
Wow. So that's why you came here today, because how I presented and how you've seen from my podcast, it's not about me. It's about what you have to display. It's about displaying the artist, the creator, the ghostwriter, the whoever you are, with whatever profession, whatever education that you can provide, whatever insight you can provide. It's about the guest. It's not about the host. So you're amazing.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And one last thing, because I think this is probably going to be one of the most powerful questions that's not business related, but it still is business related, is how do you maintain your relationship with your kids and your relationship with your husband while still being the best in the industry you're currently in?
Yeah, so my older daughter lives all the way across the United States in Florida on the coast, and so we text a lot. I try to do FaceTime with her once a week, but because she is a Delta flight attendant, she doesn't have a normal schedule, so it's really hard for us to nail down times, especially when she's on call. But I do text her a lot. We share pictures, and I do my best to stay in touch with her, because even when your kids are adults, it's your relationship changes with them, but it does not change the amount that you care for them, because my kids are still my number one priority in my life, no matter what. Like, they always been ever since second one. And then my younger daughter lives with me full time. She has several autoimmune diseases, and so she's disabled, and so she lives with us full time. And so I do my best to, because she can't drive because she has seizures, so I do my best to drive her places, take her where she needs to go, be supportive of her, and through her disability and as much as I can. So, and that's how with my kids. With my husband, he's a gem. He cares about me a lot. He loves me a lot. I have physical challenges as well, because I have several disabilities I live with, but you can't see from the outside. And he never, what's the word I'm looking for? He's always there, when I need something. And he is just very giving and generous. And he's the most chill person ever. Sometimes he's too chill. Sometimes I want to light a fire in his butt and be like, you need to react to this. Because he's so chill, he just doesn't react at all. But he's just great. And we have a lot of similar values. We actually have very different interests, but we have very similar values. So that is really important in a relationship, is having good values together.
So would you say it's fair to say that he just understands you as a person and is willing to continue to learn and understand you from the start to now?
Yeah, he's always willing to understand me. I don't think he always understands me, but he gets a lot of me. He gets more of me than most people do, probably.
More than likely. Come on. I mean, she just said she doesn't do anything half-assed, and I don't think she does. And if you look at all the work she's done, you can see that maybe some work you probably will never know, because how she just said, you will never know some things that she has written before based on her profession. So thank you so much, Miss Elikiquite. Please add in anything else that you would like to leave with your viewers, to your new clients that will be reaching out to you, and just to people in general. What is your message of the day? Yeah,
so my message of the day, I guess, is just really I can't say this enough, and I know other people say this, but I say this from a perspective of coming from a very bad and abusive childhood, is that you really need to find out who you are. Why, you don't even find out why that is, but you need to find out who you are and really own it, and then project that through yourself. Because if you don't find out who you are, and you don't do the work on yourself, and you don't understand who you are, you can't serve the world, and you can't serve other people. You can, but you can't do it to your potential. So the more I find out about myself, the more I can better serve other people and team up with other people. And then I know who I want in my circle and who I don't want in my circle. And that's also very important in life, to keep people in your circle that you know, love, and trust, and that will also reciprocate that back to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Elikiquite. All of your information will be listed below. Any information that you would like for me to go ahead and list below too, please just send it to me. I'll be sure to do it. I am so grateful for your words today, your education, and thank you most of all for your time and still following through and coming here and showcasing all of your insight.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to reach out to your listeners. I really appreciate that.
Office of the Day with Miss Elikiquite and Mark Anthony, a.k.a. Pasadena's Wolf, tuning in and now officially tuning out. Goodbye.